Welcome to 2 cents short of a dollar, the show where we give our 2 cents and keep it 100. We're your hosts. That's Motiz, and I'm Rue. And today, I know we've been gone, but we have not been hiding. We have not been ducking the smoke. Terrence Crawford made it look very easy against Canelo Alvarez, and I'm here for all you guys to troll and kill me in the comments because we both chose Canelo. And to be honest, we didn't really see. I mean, obviously there was a way, but we were pretty confident in our picks that Canelo would win that fight. Now, Terrence made it look easy. Granted, the score, I think the scorecards indicated that the fight was closer than it actually was. So when you watch that fight, just tell me what you thought as you were watching the fight and then at the end of the fight.
So I definitely want to talk about the scorecards. I definitely feel like they were definitely tripping, and they were definitely looking for a way to either score the draw or lean towards Canelo, which I don't think that fight was close.
Yeah.
If you have eyes, in that fight wasn't close. That's there, right? But when I'm watching the fight, the first couple rounds is probably as close as it could probably get, but Bud was just more active. He threw a lot more punches, landed more punches. And as the fight progressed, I became more at awe with Crawford's abilities and his performance.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing that really, and I think you can agree to this or attest to this, right? The main reason why we decided to choose Canelo, it was more so the unforeseen variables going into this fight. The punching power. Can Terrence Crawford withstand Canelo's punching power? Can he keep Canelo off of him by demanding respect? And more importantly, how will the added weight affect his performance in terms of his speed, his stamina? And he answered all the questions, right? Because the question wasn't really Terrence Crawford's skill set or his fighting instinct and ability. It was more so the intangibles, right? The physicals. And I think that really won him the fight, because there were certain parts of the fight, especially I was shocked at, like, I think in the later rounds, I forget what round it was. It might have been around like 7, 8, where he stood in the pocket at times and he threw at Canelo. And one time Canelo tried to bully him and he did not move. Mm-hmm. He was able to push Canelo off of him as if he was the stronger guy.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of the Errol Spence fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And then I'm not going to lie. What shocked me the most is when he hurt Canelo, especially in that 12th round, and gave Canelo Bambi legs. If you go back and watch, he hurt Canelo. I've never seen Canelo, besides Cotto's brother, hurt him like that. And I was like, whoa. I was like, yeah, Crawford is the real deal. He got it. You know, I've never betting against him. He got it.
Never betting against him again. Yeah. I bet it. What is he now? 41 and 0? 42 and 0?
42.
40 whatever.
41, 41, yeah.
2 of his last 3 fights, I made the mistake of picking against him, and I've been as wrong as anybody could be. But, I mean, it was just like I said, it was just an amazing performance. Just like you said, some of the things that was really surprising is when he just stood in the pocket and threw with Canelo and got the better of the exchanges. People are trying to make a case that he was moving too much, but I think he was utilizing the ring effectively, right? We know Canelo has slow, flat feet, so he took advantage of that. But there was times that we can go back and see that he stood and traded with Canelo, and a lot of those he got the better of Canelo. But I can't lie, as I was watching the fight, I kept feeling like, okay, Canelo's going to feel the desperation that he's falling behind on the cards, and he's going to get rolling, and he's going to start coming after him. It's going to be the snowball effect that I thought it was going to be, and it just never happened. It just never happened. Like, he could never pick it up and put it in that next gear. And obviously Bud has something to do with that, but I thought Canelo I didn't think he would go out that way.
Yeah.
Even if he lost, I didn't think he would go out that way.
Yeah, it is disappointing too. And then it makes you realize, though, because after that fight, I was just like, kind of like in disbelief, I guess, in how easy he made it. Right. If it had been a close fight, he went, okay. But he made it look so easy that I'm like, what? I'm like, and I went back to watch some of the old Canelo fights, Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders. And I'm like, yo, Canelo's style didn't change much, especially at 168 pounds. Stalk him, throw one pop shots here and there, not throwing volume punches. The last time Canelo was like throwing punches in combinations was the Triple G fights. So that kind of told me, like, Canelo has gotten complacent in fighting in a certain style for several years, even during his run at undisputed. So I think it's more so it's not even an issue of maybe okay, he has been declining, but I don't think no version of Canelo at 168 beats Crawford just based off styles.
Yeah,
And
and
now that
I
I
know
know, you know,
this is going to sound crazy, and initially people are like, "What? You're crazy. You don't make any sense at all." But he may have even beaten Canelo easier than he beat Errol. Now he beat Errol worse. Like the damage is clearly worse. But
yeah,
I almost feel like it looked like a lighter sparring session from him than even as wide as the gap was in the Errol fight. It almost felt like he was trying harder. Like when I was watching this, I'm just like, yo, is Bud even taking this serious? It just looks
yeah,
so easy for him.
it did.
Like
It
it
did.
looked
He
like a scrimmage.
cruised.
Like seriously, like he's just walking through a scrimmage. Like yo, yeah, you know what I mean?
I agree. It looked like at points in time he was just throwing like bye bye, and then he fought it at his pace. He dictated the terms of that fight,
Yeah,
and it looked like he was clearly the superior fighter. And for him to make it just look that easy, man, he
that's
got it. It
special.
just now I got to ask you. Yeah, I'm going to ask you this: does it make Crawford even that much more of a special fighter, or was Canelo just not as great as we thought he was?
Nah, Crawford is that special.
Okay.
He's that special because even if you say Canelo's not as great as we thought he was, he's still been fighting dudes, having dudes on the back foot, running big dudes, knocking them down. You know what I'm saying? Like Berlanga's a pretty big dude. He dropped Berlanga, you know what I'm saying? And he just couldn't get anything going against Crawford. Everything was neutralized. Everything was neutralized. And yeah, I just think Crawford's that special because Canelo's style, though it hasn't changed much, has been pretty effective for him at that weight class, right? And none of those things worked against Terrence Crawford. And what we're seeing is Terrence's style, though he's a chameleon, he can employ a lot of different styles. Where he really shines is against those people who are going to come forward and try to bring the fight to him, right? His counter punching, his punching between your punches, and just his overall boxing IQ. I think it was just way too much here. Now, if you go back to the Madrimov fight, Madrimov's light on his feet, moves a lot, awkward style, but it seemed like that gave Terrence more trouble than a guy who was going to be easy to be found like Canelo, like Errol Spence. They're going to be your face all night. So it just seems like those styles tailor-made for Terrence, and him and his team they've been telling us for years, right?
Yeah.
Whether we chose to listen or not, you and I personally did not, right? But they've been
Yeah.
telling us for years that those styles are tailor-made for Terrence, right? And I think that's why people are still like calling for that Boots Ennis fight, because he's a guy who's slick guy, moves on his feet pretty well. So I think people are just trying to see what style can make for a more interesting fight. Not saying Boots Ennis will win that fight. I think experience will mean a lot in that fight, and Terrence has so much experience. But I think that's why people are still calling for that fight, because I know some people are just like, yo, he beat Terrence. Why would you want to see him fight Boots? But it's just the styles, right? The styles make the fight. So I mean, people can jump in the comment section if they are the ones calling for it and tell me why. But I believe that's why people are calling for that fight.
I agree. I definitely agree. But yeah, I'll tell you what, man, if I ain't betting against Crawford again, unless it's an obviously, but even then I'm being so much hesitant that I'm like, I don't know.
No, I'm
right. Like
I'm not betting against him. If they put him against Usyk, I'm gonna say it's a draw, bro. I'm not
what about like Babol? What would you say?
Draw. I'm not betting against him, bro. I'm not betting against him, bro.
Benavidez?
All right, but now speaking of Benavidez, right? All jokes aside, now I don't want that fight for Terrence Crawford, right? But let me tell you why I'm torn on it. I don't think Terrence has anything left to prove, right?
Okay.
So I don't really want that fight for him. But I can see how Benavidez can look at the situation and say, man, those is my belts. That should have been my opportunity. It should have been me in that ring showing you guys what I could do to that guy. So I'm torn, because I do think Benavidez deserves this opportunity. Not that he's not getting or going to continue to get it at 175, but 168 was Benavidez' division, and Canelo is on the record. He did not care about belts. He did not care about belts until Benavidez got stripped, right?
Yeah.
Then you want to go and collect the belts. So you do care about belts, but what you care about is not getting in the ring with that guy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You didn't want to get in the ring with that guy. So I get it from Benavidez' standpoint. And Turkey put out the tweet, can Benavidez still make 168? And I know he can, according to him. But I don't really want to see that fight for Terrence. But now, if Terrence steps up and takes that fight, bro, I mean, more power to him, right? But I don't really want that fight for him. That, and like I said, I'm not picking against Terrence, but that might be one of those guys who's coming forward to you, and the fights might look a little bit different than the last two, right? But I don't want to see that fight, me personally.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I can't disagree with anything you've just said. Yeah, I think Crawford should probably just ride off in the sunset, but his choice though.
Yeah. And I mean, his team has been vocal about saying they're not taking that fight, right? I think Bomac was on the record of
Bomac,
saying,
Bernie, all of
yeah,
because they know the danger that that
oh, yeah.
Benavidez poses to Crawford. And I think Crawford even said it himself years ago. Like those are some big guys. The only reason why he took the Canelo fight is because in terms of stature, he can handle that. Right.
Yeah.
So they know. They know.
Yeah.
They know
And
the dangers.
so I think that's fair. Like, I'm not gonna be, oh yeah, why you want to fight at 168, but you don't want to fight Benavidez, man. Like, I get it, bro. Like, you came, you had an opportunity, you did what you needed to do. Allegedly, he may go to 160. He may fight Janibek. I don't know. He said he's not going back to 154. That to me is a little disappointing. I would probably like to. I'm very interested in that him and the Fundora fight, just because like Fundora is such a interesting style, and I would just love to see what the game plan and the strategy is. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he said he's not going back to 154, so that's a little bit disappointing. But there's nothing really left for him to do. If he wanted to retire, I would support that. I think he says he wants to keep fighting, so I would support that. But now, in terms of like Benavidez, right? So Benavidez has some stuff to figure out what's 175. He's going to fight Anthony Yard. But let's say he was just like, all right, you know what? I'm going to come back to 68. Forget the belts. I know Terrence has the belts. Forget the belts. I still want the Canelo fight. Do you think at this point in time, Canelo should try to fight him to redeem himself after that loss?
I mean, personally, I'm indifferent about it because on one hand, he can go and fight Benavidez and get destroyed, arguably worse than what he did by Crawford, right? Because I think Benavidez is definitely going to look to kind of inflict some damage on Canelo just based off of everything that's happened, and more importantly, he's going to be competitive enough to show like I'm gonna show you worse than what Crawford showed you. So he can probably go and lose that fight, but also he can have a moral victory where if he makes it competitive, he can also ride in the sunset, and that can add on to his resume that he fought the best of the best. So that can, but also if he decides not to fight Benavidez, that's also at this point, you know, we already seen it. We've seen him avoiding Benavidez for these years. He's been ducking Benavidez, so I don't think him turning around to try to fight Benavidez is going to take away kind of what he's done to Benavidez at that particular point in time in, you know, putting the belts on the line. And you know what I mean? Like, because now you're just fighting him because it's all right, the name, but what about the belts? I think that mattered at that particular point in time. So for me personally, I don't care about that fight anymore. I really don't.
Do you think Canelo in his mind though is like, yo, I should have just took the Benavidez fight? Because even if I lost that fight, it
It would
wouldn't
have been,
have put as much on my dirt on my rep as this Crawford
yeah,
loss.
100%. He probably regrets. Like he's like, damn, at least losing to Benavidez, it could just be a situation of like, this guy's bigger. He's, you know, now I lost to a guy moving up in weight. And he low key, I don't know if it's a cherry pick, but he got paid really well. And he probably didn't think he was going to lose like that.
He said it. He said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to lose to this guy." Remember, he said that in the press conference.
Yeah, he was so confident. He was like, "Come on," like he was so like, man, basically like he got the God complex, like you know, and rightfully so, right? Like he probably was like, because logically, like the favorite is Canelo, but in his mind, he probably is like, "Yo, what the heck?" Like, yo. I think you might be right. He might be like, yo, if he could change back and choose between Benavidez, he might go Benavidez' way.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, it was crazy because they said, excuse me, you know, they always say it's harder to get up off of silk sheets, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, you know, my standpoint, I was just like, yo, Canelo's been on them silk sheets for so long. It seems like he's continuing to get up just fine. He's used to it, right? But I think that kind of really showed in this fight. I'm not trying to make excuses that he couldn't get up for the fight, but it's just like everything about it, bro, just never being able to put the pedal to the metal and say, like, listen, I'm losing. I'm going to come out swinging and giving it my all. A la, granted, he was behind. This fight by this point was close. Think about Loma 12th round when they're just like, yo, it could be any way. We're just going to go out swing. Both of us just, I never saw that moment from Canelo where he's just like, yo, I know I'm behind. I'm about to just try, you know what I mean? And I guess that was just a little disappointing from his standpoint. But back to the Benavidez thing, to be honest, you know, and the reason I was making the Silk Sheet comment, I think he's so comfortable. Still don't think he would have took the Benavidez fight. I still think the risk of the punishment that he would have taken, I still think he's not about that, bro.
You don't think he's about that? I mean, right? I mean,
I don't think he's
you might
about
be
that,
right,
bro.
because I'll say this: if I personally do think if he fights Benavidez or he fought, the loss would have been more traumatizing in the sense of I think he would have been dealt more damage.
Stopped him.
He probably would have stopped him.
Stopped him, bro.
He probably would have. Like people say, oh well, Bivol couldn't stop, but Bivol's style is not like that. Bivol also was like,
and Bivol had moments.
Outside. And Bivol had moments, but he let off because he was like, all right, let me just. Benavidez is not like that. Nah. He's a truck. He's gonna look to go through you.
Yeah.
He's gonna look the volume punches, the speed of his punches.
The later rounds once Canelo's stamina starts to deplete and Benavidez still has that energy coming forward, it just I mean, like I said, I don't want to see Terrence take that fight. If he does, more power to him. But I also feel for Benavidez, like, yo, damn, that was my moment. I see Demetrius Andre trying to get in the mix, asking for a shot at the belts. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing I'm saying for Benavidez. A lot of guys were just like, yo, that was my opportunity, bro. And I just never got it. You know what I mean? But Terrence don't owe them guys nothing.
He really don't. It's unfortunate. He's like, yo, I understand I took the belt. It may seem like I inherited Canelo's will, but nah, it's not like that, man. I just came, took the belt. I'm gonna vacate him. That's up to y'all to decide.
And that's the point that now they got to unify them. Hopefully, whoever does it, they can unify them quickly, right? Because it's like Dragon Balls, right? Okay, they're all in this one central place. If I'm like I said, David's not competing at 68 anymore, but if he was, like, yo, this is my chance to just get all of them. I've been waiting so long for this opportunity, but now you got to go fight that person, fight that person, fight that person. You know what I mean? So, I mean, let's see what Terrence does, right? You never know till you know. So let's see what he does. But I mean, he put on though. He put on, and I guess at this point, would you consider him the face of boxing?
Oh, absolutely. He has to be 100%. It ain't Tank.
Oh,
I'll tell you that.